So my personal experience with racism has not been a officer, you know, profiling me and chasing me down, but I would say I've had to deal with implicit biases in the workplace. And so my racism may not be like your racism, but it's more of an economic racism. And so I've been passed over for promotions. I've had to deal with certain staff that I know I was, a little bit more savvy in an area, but because they fit a look, I didn't get an opportunity to excel or take full advantage of those opportunities. So often people talk about how do we move forward, or are we even moving forward? I wasn't around when the civil rights movement took off, but there were certain elements of it that never got to land. If you ask the quintessential question, where are black folks today at? I believe that we are making strides. We are moving from black history to black future. And what that looks like is the fact that if you look at the latest protests, there just weren't African Americans. It was a mixture of everyone coming together to saying enough is enough. Everyone had a call to action, and that call to action was see something, say something. And so I do believe that we're making progress. I do believe that we're moving forward. I do believe that Dr. King's dream is still alive. And I do believe that there's certain elements that we're walking hand in hand. But however, I do believe that the injustice that we face is maybe not the 1960s injustice, but the injustice that we face now is really an economic injustice. So one of the things I think we need to do to move forward to justice, it's not simple. This is arduous. In life, I've learned when you take shortcuts, you get cut short. And for so long, we've taken the shortcut and we put the Band-Aid. But we have to move back to liberty and justice, not just for the well-connected, not just for the privileged, but liberty and justice for all. And I think we spend more time talking about each other than we spend time talking to each other. So I think once we start having meaningful dialogue and talking to each other and finding ways that can get rid of some of our implicit biases, I think that that will help move the agenda forward to get rid of injustice and make people tolerant, but more importantly, inform people and then help enlighten and banish some of the ignorance and some of the preconceived notions that we have about each other. Look, I do believe that we're moving forward. I'm a living testament of us moving forward. I'm a kid who grew up in the Cottonwood area. And I always say a kid like me from Cottonwood, able to walk the halls of Congress and to be able to sit on the Planning Commission for the city of Bakersfield. I believe that that epitomizes that we are moving forward. One of my expectations for the city of Bakersfield and the county of Kern is that we continue to work together and move towards getting rid of these implicit biases that exist in our community. I think one of the things that makes Kern County, especially Bakersfield, one of the most generous cities in the entire country is the fact that we look out for our brother, that we know that we are our brother's keeper. And so my goal for Kern County is that we continue to have meaningful dialogue that changes the trajectory of how we look at each other, but more importantly, how we treat each other.